What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Trust the Tape with Jeff Cavanaugh and Bryan Broaddus. Thinking about just calling this thing, "Hey, Bry." Is that this button?
Hey, Bry.
Good morning, Bryan Broaddus. It's good to see you, brother.
Jeffrey, it's excellent to see you as well. If I could report, I'm down to maybe the last 15 players I'm probably going to look at.
Yeah, you know what, Bryan? Is it okay? It's time to tell the truth to each other.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to go a week or two and crank back up. I feel like I have been
Yeah.
petering and I have to
Mhm.
crank back up. And I have a list of guys. Basically, I don't want a player that is on anyone's top 100 to not be a guy I've seen. And so just looking around
Yeah.
everywhere, I'm like, oh crap. Okay, that guy, like there's it doesn't matter. Just know that while you were petering and you're done, I am still trying to catch up and crank up because I don't want somebody to be picked in the first 3 rounds and me be like, oh, I don't know him. I'd love to
Yeah.
make through 4, but we'll see.
Now, the thing with the biggest fear for somebody that does the line of work that you and I do is the Puka Nakua, where I didn't see Puka Nakua, and I looked at 215 players.
Right.
And that's the one that's going to haunt me for till I get out on the lake and not do this anymore. Seriously, and then the kid ends up being a hell of a player, and you're like, man, why did I look at 27 other receivers and not look at him? But that's it's like if you're Dane Brugler, you're going to look at 400 dudes because that's what you do. You start in Memorial Day, and you and I start in November, December.
This is full time. This is full time.
Yeah.
We got
yeah.
gigs. We got stuff.
I know, man.
Do.
But hey, I've enjoyed it. I really have. This class has some unique players to it. It also has some big time question marks. It's got injured players at the top. It's got some character players at the top. There's a lot of things to kind of digest when we get to this thing at the end of April.
I mean, I think I'm with the great Vach Lombardi when it comes to this draft.
Yeah.
Talking to him like a month or two ago, where I think for one draft for the Cowboys, don't be afraid to do you hate these words. Don't be afraid to do a nice little floor draft, Pick the safe guys because
I totally agree with you guys. I don't have a problem with the floor player right now. I really don't. And yeah,
I just like that you know the word now because when we first started doing it,
I'm trying my best to try and learn this already. But where would you consider Ibuka, the wide receiver at Ohio State, a floor player?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong. And you know what? This guy has been, it's so funny that Vach and I were talking about this because, and actually Dane Brugler, I brought up with Dane Brugler the other day, that you with Ibuka, it's like he's always played the role of never being the number one guy, but he's played it so well that people are going to draft him in the first round. I mean, he's that type of player where he's never been the star. He's never been the go-to guy. He's always played with guys that were probably better than him, that were drafted in lofty spots. But he has played his role so well. And it might be because of this draft, as you and Dane like to say, due to this draft, in this draft, that Ibuka is a first-round player, but he's played the role so well that you consider him with the other top wide receivers. And he might be the best example of a floor player there is in this draft.
Yeah. I don't think you're not. Emeka Ibuka, if no major injury happens, is playing in the NFL for a decade. Yeah. He's doing it. And then I think there are some guys that you could pick at 12 where you're hoping that a year or two later are turning into, like, I think the perfect example is a guy that I like, Mykel Williams at Georgia, right?
Sure.
You take him because premium position, and you look at him on tape and you go, holy cow, look at that size and strength and length.
No, you're absolutely right.
Athleticism, and he's 20 or 21 years old. Like, wow, that could be amazing. But when you get to camp on day one, Emeka Ibuka steps on that field and starts and does his job well. And Mykel Williams, you go, okay, what can we get out of this guy as a pass rusher? What are we going to – and that's I'm cool with the floor draft. I think it's the right draft for it. I think there's a lot of guys that can help an NFL football team, but I don't think that there's a lot of superstars.
Mm.
And if you go swinging for them
Yeah.
and miss, in this one, go ahead. Get you a guy that you say, no, he's going to start for us as a rookie. We're good there. I'm not saying he's going to a Pro Bowl, but I'm saying that guy's ready today. And I don't have a bunch of questions about him. Yeah.
Jeff, the more I look at this draft, and not just overall draft, but just the players in the draft, and I think Hunter's a wide receiver.
Hey, the first time I watched him, I hear everybody saying corner, but
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in playing him. I mean, he's going to play corner. I have come as I've studied my board and looked at the players and have come to the realization and seen Colorado tape. And it happened to me when I was watching Shedeur Sanders. Last week, Vach and I were doing quarterbacks.
Oh, God, quarterbacks.
I know. 11 of them last week, and trying to kind of figure it out. But you have to figure out, because Dallas, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and you're on Trusted Tape with us today, you're probably going to draft a quarterback. If you're somebody from another team, we got to talk about quarterbacks one day. But to me, I came to the realization of watching Hunter play wide receiver that I felt better about him playing wide receiver than I did corner. And I think he's a really, really, really good corner. I just think he could just be such a difference maker playing wide receiver. Well, and I'm going to keep him there. I'm going to keep it wide receiver and not, but he's going to play corner. He's going to play corner. There's the caveat. He is going to play corner, but on my board, I would have him first as a wide receiver is what I would.
I just think that he's so unique that both positions, even being incredible at them in college, is still being mostly done on roll the ball out and play.
Yeah.
It's like, is he the most precise route runner? No.
He is not. He is absolutely not.
Technique sound corner? No.
Nope.
But when you're going to throw to his guy, or when you're going to throw to him and it comes down to it's me and you, it's him. He wins.
It's amazing. It's amazing watching him play those positions, because you're like, how does he get away? Oh, I see how he gets away with it.
Because he's a better athlete than everybody.
He's just so much better athlete than everybody else. He has got so much his awareness for how to play, his savvy for the feel of the game. That's something you can't coach these kids. You can't, feel of the game. And like, I'm watching Sanders and I'm watching them play Nebraska, and Nebraska is just crushing them up front. And I'm watching Hunter and Sanders try and survive the game. And seriously, it is like, you could tell that it's 7-0. It's a pick six. It's 14-0. It's 21-0. And now you're getting to feel like this is not going well for Colorado. And you start to see Sanders have to push, and you start to see Hunter have to push to make a play. And you see a level of frustration on both, because the game wasn't going. But he's one. I think if there was one guy that I could trade up for, I think it's him.
So we were talking about this the other day, at some point last week, and I'm just like, in a world where, you could have Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, both.
There's your ceiling, right? Is that your ceiling guy? Is that the ceiling?
Oh, Cam Ward is.
No. Hunter. His
ceiling is.
Yeah, his ceiling is way up there. I mean, the floor. See,
and his floor is. I don't know. What are we doing with him?
Okay, this is interesting, because Trevor D in the chat goes, Ty Robinson from Nebraska's nice player is a 3 technique. He's absolutely right. He's a nice player, because what happened? If I could go back real quick, I was watching Colorado, and all of a sudden, Ty Robinson from Nebraska shows up, and
that's
he's
the best part of scouting.
And it's like going, whoa, okay, so now you go back and watch Ty Robinson. So thanks, Trevor, for mentioning that, because I was watching the game and they could not block him in that football game. So I'm like, who is this number 9? And it's like, oh, this is the guy that everybody wants me to look at. So anyway, back to your guy. I'm sorry.
That happens.
Feeling.
That's okay. If people are here, they know that we'll go all over the place.
Yes,
because that happened to me when I fired off a tweet about Matthew Golden a couple of months ago, and nobody had him ranked. Nobody. Yeah. And I don't know if he was like a surprise declare or just nobody saw it coming or coming into the season. But I'm going off of, at the beginning, I go off of Dane's list. So I'm watching Isaiah Bond, and I'm like, why are we talking about the not best receiver on the team? This other guy's the guy that makes all the plays. Why is nobody talking about this guy? And then he declares, and it's just like, okay. And then everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, he is really, really good. Well, nobody talked about him.
But see, Jeff, you've learned this from the 11, 12 years you've done this, is that the media scouts, we're always behind. We try and have lists and the great thing about like having a Dane's list is that, it does give you a start.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was a lot of focus on Bond when you went to Texas, when scouts were going through, there was a lot of focus on Bond, and then Golden from every game. And then you got into the playoffs and you're like going, well, hell, it ain't Bond. It's this Golden kid. That's the guy, and then you watch, Quinn Ewers, like watching quarterbacks last week. All Quinn Ewers needs is a Matthew Golden. That's all he needs.
Gunner helm. Get you a little Gunner helm.
No, Gunner helm and in blue. They've got the offensive linemen. I mean, it's a pretty good program right there.
Let me knock out our super chats real quick. Appreciate everybody that's here with us live. Please hit the like button. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, or else that's not a threat. How many receivers do you have in this class that would be instant upgrades over Tolbert? Thanks. Oh no, where'd my board go? I've always been in the camp that I think my answer is Tetairoa McMillen, Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, Matthew Golden, and then I'm hoping. Not that I don't think that any of the next guys could be an upgrade, but I think you can't be too optimistic with rookies stepping into the NFL. Like when Jalen Tolbert was coming into the NFL as a 3rd-round pick, I thought that was a great pick. And so now when you're talking about picking guys in the 2nd and 3rd round to project that they're just going to walk in and be your 2nd best receiver, I think it's hard. I think it's possible for Jack Besh or Jaden Higgins or
I'm in from Stanford. I like him a lot. And I really like Royals.
Yeah, and I think it's possible for Jalen Royals.
Yeah. That's about how far I can go. Yeah, probably so.
What are your thoughts on how our previous 2 misses have been late 1st rounders? Does this improve your faith again in the 1st round? I think in this draft, I think you're picking a late 1st rounder at 12. That's what I think. I think it's likely that in most classes, whoever you're picking would have been picked in the 20s in most draft classes. And I'm trying to think if there's.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's, Jeff, that's why I think that, honestly, I think you could, if you're interested in trading up, it might not cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends, right? Because I'm with you, Travis Hunter. If it goes, if Ward and Sanders,
I'm sure you would say Carter or something like that.
It's Hunter, it's Carter, it's Graham. Like, and
I would give up pick 44 to go get. I would give up pick 44 to go get Hunter. That's what I would do.
I would do that. I would give up my 2nd-round pick to go get Hunter, and I would give up my 2nd-round pick if you could get Abdul Carter. And I think that's it. I think that's it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it for Mason Graham, and I like him. But I'm not giving up 1 and 2. Do you have a feeling about the Cowboys taking no linemen in the first 3 rounds? Don't hear that mocked to them. Because, Brian, I saw you talking yesterday on the Twitter at Bryan Broaddus with a Y about you're kind of making predictions about the first 3 rounds, and you put 4 positions out there. Was O-line one of them? You said edge, corner, receiver,
corner, running back.
Receiver? Yeah. I think O-line at 12 would be a good pick.
Oh, I would too.
And I don't know.
I don't know if they would. I
think Will Campbell at 12 would be a good pick.
Oh, you know me. Yeah, Campbell, Simmons, sure. I don't. That's when I was asked. I didn't think so. I kind of was looking at all these. I was looking at the position. I go, well, what will they do? What will they do? And it wasn't any particular order. I just gave you 4 positions.
I just think that going back to the theme of this draft for me, if you just wanted to be safe and not try to do too much and feel like you did something good for your football team, obviously, I love Kelvin Banks too. So Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks, or Simmons at Ohio State. I think any of those 3 offensive linemen, that's a good, solid pick. Like maybe you didn't pick a future Pro Bowler, but I don't think you're whiffing on any of those guys. I think those are all NFL starters. Let's go. Put them in there. Help my football team.
No.
Shout out to Ike. I spend all of my workday listening to you two on various platforms.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you, Mr. Ike. All right. You had a topic for me today. Shout out to Rich, who I think is fired in 2 super chats, but is forgetting to put words in there, or he just wants us to have money, which either way, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Rich.
Oh, I know what Rich wanted. I've seen a couple of his messages. The Tetairoa McMillen video from like 2 years ago, where he's clearly on a podcast when he was not a big name yet, because he's just like sitting there snacking, and the other guys are just kind of I don't know, but basically
recording him without him knowing, kind of.
Basically, I don't watch film. I don't really love the football thing. Does it matter?
Neither do I.
We watch a lot of film.
But because it's my job.
I mean, there's lots of NFL players that aren't watching football.
Do
you come to work and do you try at work? Are you good at work?
And it's funny.
And do you try while you're here?
Are you good? Are you good when they line up and play? I think a great example of this is our guy, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is not a guy Micah Parsons is not going to make you forget of Leighton Vander Esch and Sean Lee when it comes to preparation for a game.
No, the way that he loves football is like first take. Like he wants to do talk shows.
He loves what we do for a living.
Yeah.
He loves this. He loves firing up his camera. He loves getting in front of a microphone, and he loves talking to people, and he loves like talking about subjects and various things. And he likes going to Tokyo, Japan, and he likes going to NBA games, and he likes, there's other things to have interest in. I'm going to be honest, Jeff. In my years of working in the National Football League, there were a lot of guys that studied and prepped and did everything, and still were bad players. It didn't matter. So, like I said, does he hate football? He sure doesn't play like he hates football. I mean, I was with the guy in Jacksonville that all he did to play football was so he could open up his ice cream shops.
I love it. Is the ice cream good? Did you get the shops open?
It's that Cold Stone. Company.
Yeah. I love some ice cream.
He bought Cold Stone franchises and then quit. John Frank, tight end, Ohio State, San Francisco 49ers. He's now known as Dr. John Frank, because you know why? He played football and it paid for his medical school. And he quit. Once he became a doctor, he quit. There are people that do this for various reasons. You don't have to always be a glass eater to play football. It's tough if you don't like the game, though. It's tough to play. If you're a guy that does not like playing, it's a hard game. It's a really hard game.
Yeah.
So I think Tet McMillan, when you watch him play, I don't detect a guy that hates football.
No. Because you could watch a guy who's a former volleyball player, and you could have the idea in your head that he's going to be a kind of soft, finesse sort of player.
Yeah.
Tet don't play that way. He's tough.
No, he's like running through people, running over people. Yeah, I'm like,
I ain't worried about him. I'll take him.
I'm really not.
I'll take him at 12. I'll take him at 12. No problem.
Yeah. I think people are more concerned. What was somebody said? Everybody's kind of pointing to this. Is this why he's falling down? I think there's more concerned about his speed. I think that's the speed. I think that's the bigger question about Tet McMillan, that people they're like, oh, he's falling down the boards because there's questions about it.
And there's people that I think there's a lot of people, and I'm one of them, that are a little bit wary of the big receiver in general if you're not a great separator. And he's not a great separator.
No.
Like he will win against man coverage, but I think we've gotten to a world where if you want to be really comfortable with a wide receiver, you want the guy that whoever lines up across from him, you're just like, that dude can't stay in front of him. And with McMillan, you're banking on different things, but I'm good with him. You can put him on my team.
Yeah.
We'd be fine.
Yep.
All right, Bryan, where are you taking me? You wanted to do what did you say? Positions that make sense or don't make sense?
Yeah, positions that, let me pull up my message to you here, Jeffrey, okay, so I could get it exactly how.
Do certain positions to draft.
Do certain positions to draft make more sense than others?
I mean, yeah, always, right? But so for the Cowboys, they almost don't have positions that don't make sense to draft, though. I feel like their version of free agency has been very, if we have to play, we could play. But I ain't excited about it. I mean, so there's really not. I think even if you I'll take one of the positions that I think the Cowboys for this year, they're set because they have their starters and they have the backups. I think at safety, they're set. But I don't think you're good enough at safety or good enough long term.
I don't think you are either. I don't. Yeah.
But you have Hooker and Wilson, and you have Wanya Thomas and Marquise Bell. So you have your guys. But if you told me that there's a weird world where Malachi Starks is there in the second round, boy, you better pick that safety.
I think the kid from Texas is that
Makuba?
way for me. Makuba, yeah, I think Makuba, and I think we're going to start getting. We're starting to hear the 30 visit names. And I know that Makuba, the guys were there at the pro day the other day and said that he was going to come on a 30 visit for Dallas. And everybody's like, whoa, what? Yeah. And I'm like, it makes sense. Me personally, I am not married to Hooker. That sounds funny. Or married to Wilson. I'm not married to those guys. So to me, you're right. If Starks is there, Makuba's there, even the kid, our Notre Dame.
Oh,
kid,
Xavier Watts is a beast. Xavier Watts is a beast.
I think you absolutely have to sit there and
dude, I hadn't even thought about it. Xavier Watts, I think, would be a really good pick if you got him at 44.
Hell yes, he would be. Guy's around the ball. He creates turnovers.
And that's what I think about. So I like Nick Imanwari, the South Carolina safety, who everybody is a lot of people are now having him as the top safety in the draft. And I like him. I like it,
but not that much.
I like big, fast, and he's a good player. But I think
he's a good player, but does he always play like
and I think if you look at Malachi Starks at Georgia and Xavier Watts at Notre Dame, I think you can see what is different. Imanwari, yes, he runs a 4.3 and he's the best athlete in the history of the world. But if you are talking about we're playing too high or we are playing single high, who is going to be and know where you want to go and be there? He's the better athlete. I think Xavier Watts and Malachi Starks both fall into they know where you're going and they are going to get to the football. So I should probably have Watts above Imanwari because as I'm talking about it, I think I believe that. I think I need to. Yeah. Oh, you already have it that way? Yeah. He's a great athlete and he's a good football player.
He is.
I think he's a down box, big physical guy. That's not.
I watched him and I challenged myself. I'm like, okay, let me see this great athlete. There's a sometimes element to his game. There's a sometimes I'm interested and sometimes I'm not interested. There's that element to his game. And that's why I have some of these others ahead, So yeah, I like I say, I think this board, and the reason, like I say, I asked this question is I think you answered my question was they're open.
They're open.
They really are open. They're open to business. They're open.
We hope
to, and we hope.
I can see them looking at safety, tight end, safety, tight end, and I'm missing one. Offensive line.
Tackle.
I can see them looking at those three and being like, well, we have bigger needs elsewhere. And so we're okay there. and I hope they don't, because I think that's how you screw up a draft, is by saying these are like the fact, if they do follow your blueprint of us knowing in the first 3 rounds they're going to pick from these 3 or 4 spots. I think that's just announcing to the world that you're picking for need, and picking for need is dangerous business. You don't want to leave the best player on your board available when you're talking about a 4 or 5 year player, not what you need for week 1. Like, go trade for a guy if you need somebody for week 1. Go sign a guy if you need somebody for week 1. Don't use my draft. This is where we build the effing team. This is where we get the best players that are cost controlled for half decade. Don't go 9 spots down your board because you need a fill in the blank. That's how you make mistakes, man. That's how you screw it up. Brian's in the super chat. Who would be the best of the top wide receivers to pair with CD? I'm thinking a tall X type. That's why I think Tetairoa McMillen is the natural name that everybody comes up with. And I do wonder, I think in the best offenses with the best coordinators, I like the fit of Tetairoa McMillen because he can be the stationary, play out wide, let CD move around guy. But I also think we exist in a world where so often you can bunch guys up and reduce the splits, and nobody's having to be that. Everybody could be 6 foot 190. We don't have to have the big guy. And so I think anybody fits because of.
I think somebody that has the ability to play inside, that can run the slants and run the crossing routes and stuff like that. I think those are things, to me, there was an element to their game last couple of years where all of a sudden they were trying with Gallup and then he wasn't successful. Then they tried it with Cooks, and, they're running small guys inside, and you're like, or running on slants and stuff. And I'm thinking, if that's going to be part of their offense going forward, like what we saw under the Mike McCarthy administration, they do need to get a guy like that. But if they're not going to, but the element of the slant is part of everybody's offense, but they need somebody that can be reliable. I don't think that Tolbert is that type of guy. We'll see with Mingo. My thought is that maybe that they would think that we got a guy in Mingo. Their thought, Jeff.
I'm not going to yell at you.
They're going to think that they've got Mingo as that big body guy. And if they could go out and maybe they can draft somebody that is more like what you're talking about with CD, maybe somebody, okay, Mingo, big body. Now let's pair him with, and me personally, I like Burden. I do. But there's people that will say this and that, and he's this and that. And I'm like, fine. I just watch the tape. That's all I do. I'm not privy to getting to go to Columbia, Missouri and talk to his coaches and visit with him and all that. They know, but my gut feeling is they probably think they got a big X in Mingo. And if they were going to draft a receiver, let him be a guy that can play X, but also play some Z stuff as well. And that's, I think, the route that they're probably going to go.
Paul's in the super chat. What draft picks do you use to go get Jeanty? You use number 12 overall. If it takes more than that, you do not ever do that. Ever. We do not trade up for a running back.
Amazing.
We do not.
It's amazing. Everybody has now figured out the value of Ashton Jeanty.
He's a monster. The dude's a monster.
Yeah. No, everybody's figured it out. He was the most mocked. I mean, mocked as in draft, not like, you're terrible. Not that mocked. He was the most mocked player to the Dallas Cowboys for the first 2.5 months of draft season.
Now he's the most mocked Raider, I bet, at 6.
Bingo. You know why? Because he's one of the best players in this
and because
draft.
In this draft, there's not dominant left tackles or pass rushers or corners or
he was always going to be the player that was the best player, the healthiest player, and the one with the best character. When you're picking up that high in the draft, that's what you want to go find.
Yeah.
And that was going to be him. And I never wanted to believe that he was ever going to get to Dallas. I never wanted, and I'm not saying that now because he's in these mock drafts, but I think I've been pretty consistent about it. I love the running backs. I do. I love running backs. I think they're an important part. People will tell me different. That's cool. That's cool. But to me, watching Ashton Jeanty play, he was so much better than everybody else in this draft, with the exception of maybe Hunter. But we've talked about Hunter earlier, where Hunter is not the best route runner, and he's not the best corner. When it comes to how he goes about his job, he is really good just going and playing football. So that's why the love for I could see.
I put Travis Hunter at defensive end for a play, just see if he can rush the quarterback a little bit.
Just see.
Get after it.
Yeah.
We do not have time for a 2-round mock draft. Whoever asked for that, Brian's got to go do Love of the Star. I got to go do the DLS Cowboys podcast.
Yeah, I got
Somebody's mad at me
now.
and pretending that Emmett Smith means you're supposed to trade up for Ashton Jeanty. I'm not sure how the two are related, but we're just going to go have a good day. We're just going to go have the best day. Happy Monday, everybody.
Hey, just you never know what people are going
through.
Don't
and that's why you should be
up.
cool to everyone, including Captain Trade Down.